Hello guys, welcome again to Shunya IAS. Today we are going to discuss the part 2 video of the discussion of previous year questions of the important topic of number system. Okay, and I request you, if you have not watched the part 1 yet, please go and watch the first part, only then come to the second part. Okay, so for those who have watched it, now we are having the discussion of the part 2 of number system, and as I told in the previous video that number system is a really important topic. Okay, so we are going to have 3 parts of it. So this is the second part, and before starting, let us have a look of our online and offline hybrid course which we offer, which is the best and optimized solution for CSAT in the whole market of Old Rajendra Nagar and I guess the whole country. So let us begin our discussion now. So these 2 questions we are going to see, number 1 and number 2 after it. They are based on the idea of, how many digits are there from the number from 1 to 150. Okay, so this is the idea in this question. Just try to understand the approach which I am following and you will be good to go. Okay, so what is the total number of digits printed in a book if it contains 150 pages and they are numbered from 1 to 150? Okay, so in every book there is a footer in which the page number is given. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on until 150, all the page numbers will be given. We have to find the number of digits which are printed to write the page number, right? So what are the page numbers? We will begin from 1 till 9 and we have these 9 page numbers. Then from 10 to 99, these will be the further page numbers, and further from 100 to 150 there will be more page numbers. As you can see, from 1 to 9 all the numbers are single digit numbers. From 10 to 99 we have double digit numbers or 2 digit numbers, and here we have 3 digit numbers, right? So what is the number of pages or the number of terms from 1 to 9? That is what we have to tell. And then each number of terms, let us, instead of pages, let us write it number of terms from 1 to 9. How many terms are there? And depending on the number of terms, how many digits are there? So we have number of digits. Okay, so let's say from 1 to 9, what are the number of terms? The number of terms will be simply, just follow the method which I told you in the previous video. 9 minus 1, then we do a plus 1. This will cancel out and we get the number of terms as 9. Here the number of terms from 10 to 99 will be simply 99 minus 10, the larger number minus the smaller number, plus 1, which becomes nothing but 90. Similarly, here we will have 150 minus 100 plus 1, and that will be 51, I guess. Okay, so now there are 9 one digit numbers. Since all of them have 1 digit, what will be the total number of digits? Total number of digits will be, let me use a black color pen here. Total number of digits will be 9 into 1, that is 9. Here there are total 90 digits, 19 terms are there, and in those 90 terms, each term is having 2 digits. So overall we will have 90 into 2, that is 180 digits. Similarly, here we have 51 terms and each term contains 3 digits. So overall we are going to have here 153 digits from 100 to 150. Now it is asking what is the total number of digits. We just add up all of them. We have 9 plus 180 plus 153 as the final value, and I guess the sum comes out to be 342. That is option number B is going to be the correct answer in this case. Okay, so we'll move on to a similar question now, just a level up of this very question. The question says a printer numbers the pages of a book starting with 1 and uses 3089 digits total. How many pages does the book have? So it is a reverse question of what we saw previously. Previously it told you about the number of pages and it asked how many digits are there. Here it is asking that there are overall 3089 digits. What is the number of pages in the book? Okay. So, if we look at the options, one is clear that the number of pages are definitely 4-digit number. So, we have to just follow the old process. So, from 1 to 9 we have certain page numbers, then 10 to 99 we have certain page numbers, then 100 to 999 we will have some page numbers, and from 1000 till x we will have some page numbers, right. So, let us assume the last page to be x. Then what is the number of terms we are interested in? The number of terms. So, here number of terms are nothing but 9 minus 1 plus 1, that is simply 9. Here it will be 99 minus 10 plus 1, like before it will be similarly 90. Then here we have 999 minus 100 plus 1, that will be simply 900. We will have 900 such digits. So, this 1 will get added, it will become 1000, minus 100 is nothing but 900. Here we will have larger number, that is x, minus the smaller number which is 100, sorry not 100 but 1000, plus 1, and that number of terms here will be x minus 1001. Okay. So, if this is the number of terms, what is the number of digits? We have a third column of number of digits. Since these all are 1-digit numbers, we have number of digit as 9 into 1, that is 9. Here we will have 2-digit numbers, so number of digits will be 2 into 90, that is 180. Here we have all as 3-digit numbers, so we will have 900 into 3, that is 2700 number of digits. And finally, here we have 4-digit numbers, all of them. So, number of digits will be x minus, sorry it is not x minus 1001, just a small mistake, it is x minus 999. Okay, I did a small mistake here, it is minus 1000 plus 1, it will become x minus 999. Okay, so I apologize for that. Now we have x minus 999 into 4 digits, all of them. So, if we add up all of these digits, we are getting the total digits as 3089. So, we have 9 plus 180 plus 2700 plus 4 times x minus 999 is equal to 3089, right. We have to just solve this particular value. So, from here the sum becomes 2889, and we can rewrite the equation like this. So, all these 3 digits they are adding up to form 2889. Let us send that on the other side, and we get equation 4 times x minus 999 is equal to 3089 minus 2889, right. If we subtract these two values, we get 200 here, and here we have 4x minus 999. When we divide this 4 over there, we have x minus 999 is equal to 200 by 4. This will cancel out to be 50. So, ultimately you can say x minus 999 is equal to 50, or x is equal to how much? 999 plus 50. When you add them up, it will be come out to be 1049. So, there are total 1049 pages in the book. Okay. So, that is option number C is going to be the correct option in this case, and as you can see, these 3 options 48, 49, 50, all of them are very close. So, this question has a huge scope of getting the wrong answer. So, please be careful in this calculation. Okay. Moving on, we have now this third type of question in which you have to compare which value is the largest or which value is the smallest. So, general idea for this type of a question, when things are given in addition or rather in that way, we just use the idea that if there are number p and there is a number q, if p minus q is positive, that will simply mean that p is greater than q. On the contrary, if you subtract p minus q and if the answer is coming out to be negative, that means P is less than Q. It is a very basic idea. Let me just show you an example for it. Let us assume P is nothing but 10 and Q is nothing but 6. So, here we have 10 minus 6, that is 4, that is a positive thing. So, it is obvious that 10 is greater than 6 or P is greater than Q. But on the contrary, if we take a different case and instead of these values, we take the value of P is equal to 7 and Q is equal to 12, we get 7 minus 12 is equal to minus 5. Now, this value is negative, which means P, which is 7, is less than Q, which is 12. Okay. So, this is clear. That is the same idea we are going to use in this particular question. So, let me just erase all of it and talk about the question now. So, we have here a big equation given. Let me rewrite it for you. We can say we have P minus 2016 is equal to Q plus 2017 is equal to R minus 2018 is equal to S plus 2019, right. Now, we have to tell which is the largest natural number among all these numbers. So, what we do? We just try to have the same idea, we just subtract one digit from the another and see that which is larger. So, let us start from this part. Let us rewrite this part of the equation. We have P minus 2016 is equal to Q plus 2017. Now, if I send 2016 on the other side and bring Q on this side, we get P minus Q is equal to 2017 plus 2016. You actually need not to add the complete thing. You must be sure that P minus Q is nothing but a positive value. And if P minus Q is a positive value, one can simply say that P is going to be greater than Q, right. Is it done? Now, let us move on to the second part of the equation. In the second part, we will focus on this middle equation. We have Q plus 2017 is equal to R minus 2018. Let us bring R on this side and send this 2017 on the other side. We get Q minus R is equal to minus 2017 minus 2018. So, one can simply say that Q minus R is going to be a negative value, which means nothing but that R is greater than Q, or simply Q is less than R, whatever, both are same things, right. Then we can move on to the further part of the question, that is we can take the last portion of this given equation. So, here we can have this part of the equation, and we will have R minus 2018 is equal to S plus 2019. Let us bring S on this side and send this 2018 on the other side. We have R minus S is 2019 plus 2018. Again, it is a positive value, which will mean that R is greater than S. Now, it is asking which is the largest natural number. We are sure that since Q is less than R and S is less than R, then Q and S are already eliminated from the race. Now, what we are interested in is that we are interested in knowing that who will actually win the semi-finals, whether it will be P or whether it will be Q. So, we have to tell the relation between whether P is greater than R or P is less than R. That is something we have to tell. So, in order to do that, we need to take that part of the equation which contains both P and R. So, let us see which is that part. So, simply we can say that by highlighting it, I can show you. If you take this part and this part, you can actually get a relation between P and R, right. That is what I am going to do here. So, here we have P minus 2016 is equal to R minus 2018. We will send R on this side and 2016 on the other side. We get P minus R is equal to 2016 minus 2018, and when you get actually solve the value, you get minus 2, which means it is a negative value, and therefore, we can say since P minus R is negative, P is actually less than R, and therefore, The guy who reaches the finals is R, and it is the largest number among all the digits. Okay. So, it is option number C, R, as the correct option, right. So, now we will move on to similar question when you have to find the smallest or the largest number, but this time here we are having these exponents. Okay. So, what we will do, let us see. So, here we have 4 numbers, one is 2 to the power of 40, then we have 3 to the power of 21, then we have 4 to the power of 18, and then we have 8 to the power of 12, right. Now, what we can do is that leave this 3, but let us see this 4 and this 8. How can we write this 4 and this 8? Simply you can say 4 is nothing but 2 squared further to the power of 18. Here for 8 we can write 2 cubed further to the power of 12. Now, you might be aware about this one property, that any number, let us call it x, to the power of a, and when further it is to the power of b, means nothing but x to the power a into b. So, that is both these powers are going to multiply. So, here in the final value we will get 2 to the power 2 into 18, and here we will get 2 to the power 3 into 12. Here the value becomes 2 to the power of 36, and here the value also becomes 2 to the power of 36. Now, it is asking which is the smallest number. Now, you can see that this number is 2 to the power of 40. Here the power is larger. So, definitely this number is going to be greater than these two numbers, and both of these numbers are equal to each other. So, one can say that 2 to the power of 40 is larger than these two numbers, and both of them are equal. Let us write this 4 to the power of 18, which is equal to nothing but 8 to the power of 12. Now, one number is larger, two numbers are equal. So, both of them cannot be the right answer, both of them cannot be the smallest. So, obviously, the thing which is left is going to be the correct answer in this case, and we have 3 to the power of 21, that is this number will be the smallest among all. Okay. Why? Because both of these cannot be smallest, and obviously this is the largest. So, you cannot have two correct options. Now, you have only one correct option. So, what is left? 3 to the power of 21 is left. So, that is the correct answer in this particular question. Moving on to a similar question here, we have what is the largest number among the following. So, we have to tell which number is going to be the largest. So, here what we will do, we will just use one property. As you can see here, all the fractions are given in the format of 1 by a to the power of minus 1, or minus negative power is there. Okay. So, whenever there is such a case, what we do, we just take the reciprocal. So, when there is negative power, we just take the reciprocal and make it positive. It will be nothing but a to the power of plus 1. Okay. So, same things are going to be there. Here you can see in option A, the value is going to be from 1 by 2 to the power of minus 6, it will become 2 to the power of 6. Here from 1 by 3 to the power of minus 4, it will become 3 to the power of 4. Here from 1 by 4 to the power of minus 3, it will become 4 to the power of 3. And here from 1 by 6 to the power of minus 2, it will become 6 to the power of 2. Now, these are the numbers which we can easily find out. Okay. So, let us talk about them one by one. We have 2 to the power of 6, which is nothing but 2 into 2 into 2 to 2 into 2 into 2. When you multiply all of these, you get 64 as the value. Here we have 3 to the power of 4, that is nothing but 3 into 3 into 3 into 3. When you multiply all of them, you will get 81. Here we have 4 to the power of 3, which is nothing but 4 into 4 into 4. When you multiply all 3, you get 64 again. And finally, you have 6 square, and I think you are aware that 6 square is nothing but 36. So, if I ask you what is the largest among all, largest value is going to be 81, which means 3 to the power of 4 is the largest number, and therefore, one can say 1 by 3 to the power of minus 4, that is option number C, is going to be the largest number among all 4. Okay. So, I think we should move on now to the next question. Okay. So, further in this discussion, we have this particular category of questions in which these types of digits are given. Okay. So, here you can see, as we discussed the digits x, y, and then they were reversed, they became y x. Similarly here the P is a digit. So here when you see PP, that basically means the same digit is repeated twice. So okay, you can have the example of 88. Here you have two digits which are same 8 and 8. So same thing is there when P is written, or here R and Q, all of them are some kinds of digits, right? So on that note we have to discuss this particular question. So the question says that consider the following addition problem. So we have this addition going on. We have 3P plus 4P plus PP and plus PP going in addition, and the summation is coming out to be R, Q and 2. Okay. So the basic idea is whatever you add, the last digit of this particular sum is coming out to be 2. Okay. So their sum is nothing but RQ2. The question says what is the arithmetic mean of all such possible sums. So we have to find all the possible sums which are there, and then we have to find their arithmetic mean. So let us see how we approach these particular questions. So here you can see one common pattern in all of them is that P is the last digit of all the numbers we are going to add, right? And here the last digit is coming out to be 2. So basically one can say that since here P is added 4 times, you can notify it like this. So this P being added 4 times is nothing but P multiplied by 4, and in this way the last digit is coming out to be 2. Can you think it this way, that now we have the last 4 digits as P plus P plus P plus P, the ending is coming out to be 2. So this 4 times P is nothing but 4 into P, and the last digit here is coming out to be 2. Now we have to think of all such numbers which when multiplied by 4 leave 2 as the last digit. So for example, we can have different digits to check. We know that digits are simply 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So you can just draw the number pad and check one after the another. So if we take P as 1, we get 1 into 4, that is for last digit is not 2. Similarly, if we take P as 2, so we have 2 into 4, that is 8, not 2. Then if we take 3, we have 3 into 4, 12, and here the last digit is coming out to be 2. So yes, this is one good option for the value of P. So if we take P as equal to 3, we get 3 into 4, here the last digit is coming out to be 2, and overall product is coming out to be 12, right? So this is one possible value of P. Then let us check for more. If we try with 4, 4 into 4, 16 doesn't work. Same with 5 or 6 or 7, they will not work until and unless we get the value of 8. So when we choose P is equal to 8, we have 8 into 4, the product becomes 32, and again here the last digit is coming out to be 2. So the possible values of P is 3 and 8. No else can satisfy the values of P, right? So we have the values of P as 3 and values of P as 8. Now if we take P as 3, how much the sum becomes? So now we have the value as 3P which is 33, 4P which is 43, then we have 3, 3, 33 and 33. How much this sum comes out to be? We have to just add all these values and check what is the value of this sum coming up. So you have to just add and check. It is that simple, and when we add them up, I guess the value we are getting in this case are 142. So this is one sum. Here you can compare. Here you can see RQ2 142. Here Q is equal to 4 and R is equal to 1. Okay. So one possible sum is, so I am writing sum 1 is equal to 142. Similarly, if we take the value of P as equal to 8, we get the sum as 38 plus 48 plus 88 and 88. And when we take this case, the sum comes out to be 262 in value. So the another sum, the sum 2 comes out to be 262. What we have to do is just we have to find the arithmetic mean of all the possible sums. So there are two possible sums. We just take their mean. So I am erasing and creating some space. We have to find the average or arithmetic mean. The arithmetic mean will be nothing but average, which is 142 plus 262, sum of all the terms. So there are two terms. So I am just adding them and divided by 2 because the number of terms are 2. Ultimately, I guess you will get the value of the arithmetic mean to be 202. So we have option number C, 202 as the correct option in this particular case. Okay. So as you can see, there is a entirely different approach while solving this particular question, and we have a similar question on this very pattern. So we'll move on to the question number 7 now. Here we have, consider the following multiplication problem. We have PQ into 3 is equal to RQQ, where P, Q and R are different digits and R is not equal to 0. Okay, so this is the information that when you multiply PQ with 3, what happens is that the last digit is now going to repeat twice. You have QQ, RQQ. Okay, so when you multiply this number by 3, the last digit, actually whatever be the digit here, it will get replicated in the product 2 times. So the last 2 digit will be the same. Okay, so how can we approach this particular question? We can see that, let us check how many numbers are there when multiplied by 3 will give the same number. Are you getting the idea? Here what is happening is that the last digit is Q, and when you multiply it with 3, the last digit you are getting here is also Q. So how many such numbers are there, we have to check. So again you can draw a keypad. Now let us check one after the another. So here we can see that if we take Q is equal to 1, it will be 1 into 3, that is 3. So 1 is not getting repeated. Similarly, if we take 2, 2 into 3, 6, not repeated. 3 into 3, 9, not repeated. 3 into 4, so here we put 4, here comes 12, 2, not repeated. Then now we take the case of 5. Okay. So when you take the case of 5, what happens? This Q becomes 5 and 5 into 3 is 15. So here you can see that 5 is again being repeated, right? Now you can further check, there is no such other option which on multiplying by 3 gives the same digit in the end, only 5 is such number. So we can safely say that Q is equal to 5, right? One thing we are sure about. And now if Q is equal to 5, we can say that P into 5 multiplied by 3 is equal to R into, now this Q and this Q both will be 5 in value, so R 5 5. Okay. Now ultimately what we have to find? We have to find the value of P plus R divided by Q. So we have to find the value P plus R, the sum further divided by Q. So what are P and what are R? Let us try different values of P. Okay. So here you can see that P is, since a digit, it can have any value from again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, right? We can try after one another and see what are the values which are matching such pattern. So if we take P as 1, it will become 15 into 3, 45. No, it will not suffice because that would be simply a 2-digit number. Here we have a 3-digit number. So let us try with, let's say 4 this time, it is 45 into 3. The product becomes 105 but not 155. Okay, so we need same pattern. Now if we go with the digits, let's say P is equal to 8. I am choosing this digit, P is equal to 8. It will become 85 into 3, and when you actually do the multiplication, you get 3 into 5 is 15, 1 goes carry over, 3 into 8 is 24 and 1 25. So now the product becomes 255, right? So basically one can say that if you take the value of P as equal to 8, the pattern is followed and we get R55, the same term, and R is basically here equal to nothing but 2. So the digits which are satisfying the condition are Q is equal to 5, P is equal to 8 and R is equal to 2. So these are the values which we get by simple playing with numbers. This is basic hit and trial approach. We are going to check one number after the another and nothing else. Okay, that is the way here. Finally, we get the sum. P is 8, R is 2 divided by Q is equal to 5. This sum becomes 10 divided by 5. Finally, the value is coming out to be equal to. So, the final answer is going to be option number B, that is 2. Okay. So, you can see the different approach used in such kind of questions, and that is what you have to learn. So, number system is basically guerrilla warfare. There is no single approach, okay, no conventional method to solve the questions. There are different approaches, and you have to be actually aware of the game of the numbers. Okay. So, now this is one more question. It says x and y are natural numbers other than 1 and y is greater than x. So, it is giving you two conditions. It is saying that x comma y are not equal to 1, and further it says that y is greater than x. Then which of the following represents the largest number? So, which of the following combination actually gives you the largest value? This is a kind of a, what should I say, miscellaneous question, where you can actually solve and get the answer by putting different values. Okay, do you get the idea? So, here we do not have to actually multiply some imaginary things x and y. We can just assume any value. Let us take the value of x to be equal to 2 and the value of y equal to 3. So, both of the conditions are satisfied. Both of them are not equal to 1, and here also y is greater than x. So, we are choosing two numbers which are satisfying the above condition. Now, we can put by trying these numbers in the various options. First option A is x y, which means we just multiply x and y, 2 into 3, that is we get 6. When we do the B option, x by y, we get 2 by 3, it is a fraction, clearly it is smaller. Then let us try the third option. Third option is y by x, which means we will have 3 by 2, again a fraction, even though it is larger than the previous fraction, but overall it is smaller than 6. Finally, we have option number D, which says that we have x plus y upon xy. X plus y coming out to be 2 plus 3, that is 5, and x into y coming out to be 6. This fraction will again be 5 by 6. So, it is not the largest. You can easily guess the largest value among all is coming out to be 6, and so option number A would be the correct option in this particular case. So, here you can see just trying by different values can help you lead to the final and correct answer, right. Now, we will see some more questions based on the same principle. We have this question here which says, if x minus y is equal to 8, then which of the following must be true? The first statement says both x and y must be positive. So, is it necessary that both x and y should be positive in order to solve the question? No. Let me show you. If we have the equation x minus y is equal to 8, and to check option A, we put x as equal to 5 and y is equal to minus 3, what will happen? It will become 5 minus minus 3, which is equal to 5 plus 3, and it is coming out equal to 8. So, it is satisfying the equation. But here you can see both of them are not positive, one of them can be negative also. So, here you can see that this condition is not, actually fit. So, I am just crossing out this particular statement. The next statement says, if x is positive, y must be negative. It is saying now that if you take any positive value of x, y must be negative. It is not necessarily true. If you take the value of x as 9 and take the positive value of y as 1, you ultimately get x minus y, which is nothing but 9 minus 1, and it comes out to be 8, again satisfying condition. So, if x is positive, it is not necessary y should be negative, it can be positive also. So, here you can also see the second statement is also not satisfying the condition, right. We can have an exemption, we can have a situation where this particular rule is not being obeyed. Now, we have the third option which says if x is negative, y must be positive. Okay. So, let us take any negative value of x. So, if we take, let us say x is equal to minus 1, and again we take y is equal to minus 9. When we do x minus y, that is minus 1 minus minus 9, it becomes minus 1 plus 8, that is the sum, minus 1 plus 9, and the sum becomes out to be 8. So, it is again satisfying the condition of x minus y equal to 8. So, here also you can see x we chose to be negative, but y was also negative. So, this condition to say that if x is negative, y must be positive, this is also incorrect. We have an option where x is negative and y is also negative, and still they are satisfying the condition. So, this statement is also incorrect, and overall we can say that neither 1 nor 2 nor 3, none of the statements is correct in this case. This particular question also was solved by putting different values in the sequence, right. Now, moving on, we have one more question which is quite random in its design, and so let us have a look. Which of the following number will have minimum change in value if 5 is added to both numerator and the denominator? Okay, so we have the fractions 2 by 3, 3 by 4, 4 by 5, and finally 5 by 6. Now, what we have to do is that we have to add 5 in both the numerator also and denominator also. Here we will have 2 plus 5 by 3 plus 5. Here we will have 3 plus 5 upon 4 plus 5. Here we will have 4 plus 5 upon 5 plus 5. And finally, here we will have 5 plus 5 divided by 6 plus 5, right. So, the new fraction will become how much? In all the cases you can see the new fractions will be 7 by 8, here it will be 8 by 9, here it will be 9 by 10, and finally, here it will be 10 by 11, right. Now, we have to tell that in which fraction there is the minimum change in value. So, that is something now you have to do in numerical terms. So, we just try to figure out what each fraction means. So, 2 by 3 when we divide it, it becomes nothing but 0.667 in terms of a decimal value, or 0.66. You can take a simpler value just for the situation. Here if you take the value of 7 by 8 in decimal, it becomes nothing but 0.875. Just divide 7 by 8, you will get 0.875. Okay. Here you will have 3 by 4, which is nothing but 0.75, and here you will have 8 by 9. When you divide 8 by 9, you get the value of I guess it is coming out to be somewhere around 0.14. Okay. When we take this value 4 by 5, it is nothing but 0.8, and this value 9 by 10 is nothing but 0.9. Here we can say the value of 5 by 6 is actually around 0.84. So, you have to just divide, and here you will get 10 by 11, that would be simply how much? It will be 0.9 in value roughly 0.9, not exactly 0.9, but we have to just see the change in value. Okay. So, overall we can say here the change in value is, for the first case for option A, let me write it somewhere else. For option A, the change in value is 0.875 minus 0.66, which is coming out to be around 0.21 or something, right. It is coming in the order of 0.21. So, for option A, the difference is nothing but 0.21. When we talk about option B, it becomes 0.75 minus it is not 14, I guess, it is 0.89, just a correction, this value is coming out to be 0.89. So, when you take the subtraction, this subtraction will come out to be 0.14, I guess, right. So, I just mixed up the values. Here we will have 0.8, here we have 0.9. If we subtract the 2.9 minus 0.8, we will get the value of roughly 0.1. And finally, here when you subtract 0.9 minus 0.84, you will get the value of roughly somewhere around 0.06. So, in all of the values, A is coming out to be 0.21, B is 0.14, C is 0.1, and D is coming out to be 0.06. So, in all the fractions above, the minimum change is obtained in this particular fraction, that is option number D, 5 by 6 will be the correct option in this particular question. Okay. So, in this question, as you can see, the approach is entirely different. Okay. This is nothing difficult of a question, you must know how to play. Okay. You must be able that this will convert into this will convert into this, and now you can actually take the subtraction in terms of decimal values, and you can actually subtract in terms of fractions also. The only thing is you will have to check by taking the LCM, making one common denominator. So, this approach is better in that case. And finally, we have the last question of the day. This question is actually a mixed question because it is actually using the concepts of number system also, and the topic we studied some days ago, which was HCF and LCF. So, HCF and LCM concepts are also being applied in this particular question. So, the question says, what is the greatest length x such that 3.5 meter and 8 3/4 meter are integral multiples of x? First of all, tell me what is an integer. Integer is nothing but any value which is in between having 0. Here you go positive side, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and so on. And here when you go in the negative side, we have -1, -2, -3, -4 and so on. So, basically if something is integral, it basically means it will be a complete number. Okay, it will not be a fraction, it will not be a decimal. And now if someone says that these two lengths are integral multiple of a number x, that means that in this table of x also comes 3 1/2 and also comes 8 3/4, and if both of them are having this number as their multiple and it is the greatest multiple, so it is so this x, these values 3.5 and 8 3/4 are multiples of x, and both of them are actually having x as a factor. Okay, so I am just I guess misspelled it. It is a factor. So, x is factor of 3.5 and 8 3/4, right? And also it is saying that it is the greatest factor. So, one can argue that x is the greatest factor which is common in both of them. So, basically one has to say that x is nothing but HCF of these two numbers. Let us call them 3.5, we will call them 3.5, and here we have 8 3/4, we will call it 8.75. Okay, we have to find the HCF of both these values. This is the conceptual part of it which I am explaining. And now if you look into the calculation is quite simple. I am just erasing all of it and we talk about calculation. So, here we have 3.5 meter, here we have 8.75 meter. Now, you might be confused that how can we calculate the HCF in the case of a decimal value. Simply you can do just one thing, you can convert these meters into centimeters by multiplying with 100. So, when we multiply with 100, it becomes 350 centimeter, and here on multiplying with 100, we get 875 centimeter. And now both are good numbers, so we just take their HCF. What are the factors of 350 and what are the factors of 875? So, the factors I guess are coming out to be how much? Can you tell me? The factors are coming out to be, here the factors will be 2 into 5 into 5 into 7. Here the factors will come out to be how much? I guess they will be 5 into 5 into 5 into 7, right. So, this is it. You can also take the factor. I just show you how we calculate factors in a brief moment of time. Just take 350 divided by 2, you will get 175 I guess. Then again divided by 5, you will get how much? 35. Further divided by 5, you get 7, and then 7, this will end. So, this is the way of writing down the fractions by prime factorial method. That is what I have done. Basically, what is HCF now? HCF is the common factor between the two. So, the common factor here is 5 into 5 into 7 and 5 into 5 into 7. So, the HCF is nothing but 5 into 5 into 7, that is 25 into 7 or 175 centimeter, right. but the answers are in terms of meter, so we will have to convert 175 meter back into meter again. Just divide this value by 100 and we get 1.75 meters as the final answer. But even then the answers are in the terms of a fraction and not a decimal. So you can simply say here the 1 will stay as it is, and the 0.75 part, 0.75 is nothing but 3 by 4. So we can write it like this, 3 by 4. So 1 3 by 4 meter is going to be the correct answer in this case. That is option number D is going to be the correct option for this particular question. Okay. So on that note, we have actually finished the second part of number system also, and thank you so much guys for paying attention to such an important topic. Okay. Bye.